All right, welcome in. It's Ryan Hartson on BWC Internet Radio. I'm Ryan Hartson. So I want to recap what we did yesterday. Me and Tim did the Jimmy Left President Sports program, also on BWC Internet Radio, and it was funny to me what we did. We go through. We usually do this bit. Actually, we never really did it on the air, uh, but it's stuff that we ran through that and because of technology stuff, we could never post. We have done a million Jim Miller for President Sports programs that we haven't posted. And one was this Monday Night Madness thing where we put the spotlight on the Monday night game, and we broke it down, kinda, just it takes about 5 minutes. You do 5 questions, a matchup to look for, and then we'd pick the game. So we decided to do that, kind of turn a pun into it, and do Tuesday Night Madness. And it was Vikings-Eagles. This was last night, and I like the moron I am, picked the Philadelphia Eagles rather to just blow away the Minnesota Vikings. I picked them to win 45-0. 45-0. I was just like, you know what, they're going to kill them. And did I think it was going to be 45-0? Really? Probably not. But I was having fun on the show yesterday, and I really did think it was going to be silly, the blowout, which it turned out to be. Not the case. The Vikings won the game 24-14, making me and Tim look like morons. Tim picked the game 34-10. He was wrong. And, it was pretty hysterical. Because, you go through some of the questions. I mean, no one's ever going to hear this, but I just almost have to apologize to the Vikings for not taking them seriously. Because, go through the 5 questions really quick. Is Michael Vick the MVP of the league? Just a dumb question. And he's not now. Like, if anybody thought he was before, he goes out and lays this egg on Tuesday night, which I'll get to in a second. No, he's not the MVP of the league. Second question was, can Joe Webb complete a pass? Obviously, he completed a lot of them. Let me pull up the box score quickly for you. Where is it? Why can't things do what I want them to? There it isn't. There we go. Webb was, where's passing? There it is. He was 17 for 26 for a $195. He also had a rushing touchdown. He ran for 31 yards, had a nice little rushing touchdown. It was about, this little 6 yard. He rolls out off a play action and then just kind of fakes his way into the end zone. It was a nice play. So Webb had a really nice night. It was his first ever start. Yesterday I called him a broke man's Michael Vick, which, I was just mocking the Vikings. I didn't think they were going to even show up, and they did. The other question, if Adrian Peterson plays, will he be effective? He played. He was very effective. He got 22 carries for a $118. He was really good. The other question, the Eagles player who will have a big game. No one had a big game. They scored 14 points. It was a touchdown pass to C. Harbor. Let me get this up. Clay Harbor, who is he's a tight end from Missouri State. He was drafted and he's a rookie, 4th-round pick, 125th pick by Philadelphia. So, not much of a night. Michael Vick also had a little quarterback draw, rushing touchdown in the third quarter to see if they could make it interesting. Oh no, it was in the fourth quarter to make it a 17-14 game. Then the Vikings go back down the field to make it the final score of 24-14. And then, so not a lot of Eagles had big games last night. And of course, my last question was, will Brett Favre retire after the game? And Tim, like the moron he is, on our notebook here, he wrote, will Brett Favre retry after the game? Typo. Just gonna mock him. RETRIE is what he wrote on the page. I made fun of him when we were in the meeting, and I had to point that out that he wrote that wrong. Whatever. We picked the game ridiculously wrong. But here's the thing. The Vikings won. Congratulations to them. But the Eagles, can we all agree with the Eagles that this wasn't the worst loss in the world? That Michael Vick's performance really, yeah, it was bad, but it was a Tuesday. Okay? Now what that means is they intended on playing this game on Sunday. I'm sure they had a great game plan in place. Andy Reid knows how to get players ready. And then because of the snowstorm, the game was canceled, moved all the way to Tuesday. So they're just kicking it at home, just kind of waiting around. Vikings are doing the same thing. Vikings stayed at the Four Seasons in Philly, incidentally. So they were just, kicking it at a really nice hotel. And then on Tuesday they come in, yeah, it's Tuesday, and maybe you're not. The crowd was really quiet, which was kind of surprising for Philadelphia. So maybe think, they go into it, they're not too excited. They're not, everything's kind of lackadaisical, and they come out and they had a ton of penalties. Do they have penalties on here? They have to. There they are. The Eagles had 12 penalties that resulted in 62 penalty yards. Ouch. So that's pretty bad. So the Eagles were sloppy all the way around. That's what penalties pretty much just shows how sloppy you are in certain situations, because there's some of them were dumb penalties. There was a lot of holding on dumb plays. There was one for like a neutral zone infraction on a field goal where the guy lines up over the center. Philadelphia was Minnesota was kicking the field goal. So sloppy, a lack of energy. Maybe Michael Vick played like that as well with the two fumbles that one was returned for a touchdown and the other one was recovered. He avoided a sack, which was a nice play, and then he's going up the field and then he gets stripped. So it's just the Eagles being sloppy at the end of the day. The Eagles just didn't show up, not enough energy. I think on a regular Sunday game next week, they're going to come enthused, invigorated, and they're going to win next week, and then they'll have a playoff game against the Giants, the Packers, or the Buccaneers, but depending on how things shake out. In all likelihood, it's going to be the Packers, because a lot of people think they'll beat the Bears at home. You never know. That rivalry is ridiculous. So absolutely anything can happen, and Lovie Smith loves beating the Packers. I think he's going to play his guys. But the Eagles coming in with a lack of energy is why they lost the game. And, I think they get a pass. I'm not going to freak out on Michael Vick saying, "Oh, maybe he's regressing," and all this. I heard people say that on airs that were much more listened to than this one. That he's losing it. Maybe he's regressing a little bit. Maybe he's going back to being the old Michael Vick. I don't think that was that. I think they just no energy, and they had a rough night. Not a lot there, but the Eagles didn't win 45-0 or 34-10. They lost 24-14. Props to Joe Webb. He had a nice game. Adrian Peterson had a nice game. They've got the interim coach who's probably going to keep his job now. Leslie Frazier, he'll keep his job now. Maybe Joe Webb, if he has another game like this in Detroit, maybe they'll keep him on and maybe he'll be the quarterback of the future. But in all likelihood, they'll be drafting Cam Newton. It depends on where they're. Could you imagine that? Cam Newton on the Vikings? Just something to think about. Alright, good stuff. Me and Tim will be back at some point. Maybe I'll be back. If you want me back, I don't know why you would. Alright, good stuff. This has been a very brief Ryan Hartson show on BWC Internet Media.